if everyone wants to make it better, make this industry better, we'll definitely succeed. But we have to be all aligned, which is what is currently occurring. To facilitate the supply chain, all the actors are required, all their efforts are required. So working together, all together, is the key.
Welcome to the Shipping Podcast, where I meet interesting maritime professionals sharing their passion for the shipping industry and their everyday job. I am your host. My name is Lena Gothberg. Hello, Shipping Podcast lovers, and welcome to episode 216. In this episode, I had the pleasure of speaking to Emily Babot. She is an environmental project manager at Aeler Technologies, a young engineer and a former sailor. We talk about why it is so rewarding to work in this industry where many things change simultaneously, since we have so many challenges. I hope you will enjoy our conversation.
Every conversation matters.
Welcome to the Shipping Podcast. Could you please introduce yourself?
Thank you for having me. I'm Emily Babot, and I now am working in Switzerland, where I live. I work for tech, shipping, logistic company. It's a bit hard to define, but it's a very innovative one. And my background is from shipping, both ashore and at sea.
How did you come in contact with shipping from the beginning?
Well, my journey in maritime industry began with a passion for the sea, as well facing the reality of our globalized world and the desire to explore new horizons. And after completing my baccalaureate in science, I joined a first-class officer school in France, which is an institution who provide a dual diploma in 6 years, both unlimited first-class officer and engineer as well, where I choose as a specification ODA, which stands for Offshore Deployment and Maintenance. And there I gained theoretical knowledge and practical skills necessary for a career at sea, including a wide variety of courses from pure math to law and even advanced medical classes. I've even learned how to sew up human with stitches. It's a very complete formation, yeah. And subsequently, I obtained the necessary certification and embarked for my first voyage as a cadet. And during my early years at sea, I faced both challenges and opportunity. The shipping industry is traditionally male-dominated, but I was fortunate to work on various types of vessels.
So what kind of vessels did you sail on?
I started with oil tanker ship. And I already stayed on board a container ship. And there I was in charge of multiple tasks, from dealing with crew management to energy production on board, crisis management. Yeah, all what other requirements John at sea needed.
So how was that? How did you experience that? As a young person, I mean, it's a big responsibility when you're so young and you have to take care of crisis management and people and staff and whatever.
Well, yeah, it is quite a lot of challenges. As I said, shipping industry is traditionally man-dominated, but I was fortunate to meet a lot of open-minded individuals who recognize my skills, of course, recognize me as a woman as well, but my skills, and supported me to grow up. Yeah, also during each contract, I owned my abilities and obtained necessary qualification to become a staff captain later. And yeah, that's it.
So, and then when you went ashore, what made you go ashore?
I went ashore because life forces you sometimes to take some decisions. So I needed, and I decided as well to come back to ashore work. So I worked for CMA CGM, which is one of the largest shipping company, container shipping company. It's based south of France in Marseille. And I've worked for them as a project engineer and later as a project manager. I was in charge of all the, not the new building project, but the retrofit project on board already existing vessel to save energy. I was in charge of project like cold ironing, which consists in shore power for vessel calling China and US coast because it's compulsory there. I also was in charge of energy recovering on diesel generators. In charge of scrubbers, so well-known scrubber, which is a filtering device for exhaust gas who remove fine particles. So yeah, I was in charge of all this type of project for them. Basically, the main goal was decarbonizing maritime lines. And then after working for them for a bit less than 6 years, because I completed my study after the first master I did with another master in environmental policy and management in the UK, who brings me in Switzerland, where I start working for Total Energy, which is a famous commodities trading company, energy company, where the head office is based in Switzerland, not the head office, the trading and shipping department. And recently I joined a scale-up company called Aeler, working to bring sustainable solutions for the supply chain. And yeah.
So how do you do that?
So for them, my job is called environmental project manager. So basically we try to bring to the customer a new solution of transportation, much more sustainable and also much safer, because we propose a smart container, which are built of composite materials. So they are much lighter than regular steel container. And also we have an embedded IoT device. So there is a lot of sensor trackers in it. And also the container is much more, not only lighter, but much more resistant to buckling, acceleration, all the shock that they can sustain at sea. So we both improve the experience for our customer and reduce the CO2 and GHG gas emission.
So I understand if the container is lighter, the ship doesn't become as heavy in the sea. So you can...
Yeah, exactly. So this is one of the part of the solution. But strangely, the most efficient part of the solution is that you can, or the customer can load more of their cargo in just one container because of the strength of the container, which is increased because of the material used. So they can load more. So the CO2 impact by tons of payload is reduced.
I understand. So is there a demand? Are the shipping lines interested in this?
Yeah, we have different type of customer. We have just the carrier, which has basically the shipping line, another name for the carrier. So yes, all the biggest carrier we are in contact with, but also just freight forwarder and a lot of luxury brands, companies as well rely on us because they trust the safety of our product. So also we propose for them to shift from, for example, airplane freight, which is very, very polluting, to sea freight because they rely on our solution. So this as well contribute to decrease their environmental impact.
But also if it's a tracking device on it, you can track that at sea and on land, I understand.
Yeah, absolutely. So because of the fact that you can track, so it facilitates a lot. The issue faced by the logistic of the maritime industry. So we always are talking about, for example, the port congestion. but the seaside of the port congestion. But the main part of the congestion of a port is ashore, is at the gate when the container have to go out from the terminal because of the custom clearance, etc., etc. So because of the fact that we allowed the customer and also the customs to track our container, they can know exactly at the minute where the container is and will be within 1 hour. So all the paper can be prepared in advance. And this is not a big deal to, let's say, evacuate the container from the terminal, which is very promising for the future.
But you did say paper, prepare the papers. Will there still be papers in the future?
I hope no. But unfortunately, the shipping industry is a very archaic, let's say, industry. For example, maybe you're aware that when you load some cargo on board a vessel, whether it is dry cargo, bulk cargo, or oil, even oil on board tanker container, tanker ship, there is still a requirement of bill of lading, which is a paper, on a physical paper, not digitalized one, not numerized. And they account for 3. So you have to get 3 versions of the same paper. So I hope that the paper will not be required in the years to come, but it will take time because everything takes time in this industry.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
I can sign on to that. How do you see the future for the shipping industry? Where will all this lead to, all the innovation that is going on right now and all the changes?
Well, as I said, it's slow, but it already started to change, and for the best. So the maritime industry is undergoing significant transformation, driven by technical advancement, changing environmental regulation as well, and for sure to become more transparent and sustainable, of course.
What would you say to your friends to make them start working in the maritime industry?
Well, if they have some interest in the environment, I would say that the industry is embracing measures to reduce greenhouse gas emission and minimize environmental impact of this shipping industry. It includes, of course, the adoption of cleaner fuel, investment in renewable energy sources, the development of economy-friendly ship design. Moreover, there is growing awareness and emphasis on preserving maritime ecosystems and minimizing pollution through strict compliance with environmental regulation. And it's great that we finally are here because there is a lot of sector and domain which are involved in this maritime industry. So whether you are engineer, lawyer, you can even commercial, there is a lot of job where you can be involved in this transformation.
Yeah, because it's also good for the society.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I don't think maybe people understand that or know that we are such a big part of what is happening.
Yeah. So most of the person, I think, do not know or do not even think about where are coming all the goods and things we are living with and the super fast delivery we can have. But everything is coming from the sea. Like more than 85% of all of the goods we can buy, we need to live, are coming from the shipping industries. So the improvement and how to do better the shipping world is definitely very important for the society and for the economy as well. But first for the economy and as well for the society, of course, yeah.
I think that we are not that good at promoting our industry to not to young people and not to the society in general, to people out of our own bubble. How can we change that? What do you think we need to do to make our industry more well-known?
Well-known will be hard, but not known for bad reason will be already very good. Because everyone can read on the newspaper, on here, at the radio, that the shipping line are the biggest polluters on Earth, which is false and true, because due to the size of the vessel and the huge traffic, of course, proportionally, this is maybe the biggest polluters. But if you rationalize to the amount of goods shipping lines transport, this is much less polluting than airplane, than cars and train, that truck, that everything you can find. So first, there is a need to rationalize the figures first, a scientific way, and then to recognize that there is a great emphasis to be made on diversity and inclusion, even if changes are very slow in such a patriarchal industry. This shift is pushed by young companies like the one I'm working with, that do not suffer, let's say, from the history of the big families' owned companies. But changes are in progress, even if those big, huge companies. So there is some hope, I would say.
Yeah, I definitely believe so. But I was also thinking about, I don't know, do young people use the social media and things like that? Is that where we should go and promote ourselves?
Yeah, of course. I think by any way, any means. But even starting in newspapers will be already great, because this industry is never discussed. We never heard about those industries, which is quite strange to me, because this is the main actor of the globalization, but we never talk about it. So just start by making people realize from where are coming all what they are using.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. We're always on the headlines when there is something bad happening.
Exactly. I was about to say, I think some people realized when during COVID we had this evergreen ship maybe in the Suez Canal. We blocked the Suez Canal, but there was some delay in deliveries, and everyone was upset about that, expecting for their deliveries. And when they had the explanation, they understood that it was coming from just this small Suez Canal where all the traffic is passing through. So yeah, people do not realize, and they just realize when a big event happened. Yeah, we make a lot of focus about all the bad things that can happen on the ship. And I still am trying to understand why, because there is not, compared to the huge amount of traffic of vessels crossing the ocean every day, all the year, without any interruption, never, during night, days, during weekend, during holidays, there is never stop. And comparing to this amount of traffic, there is not a lot, not incident at all. There is very, very few.
And also during COVID, the shipping industry continued to deliver.
Yeah, absolutely. They never stopped. Despite of the horrible situation that seafarers had to face, because most of them were not able to disembark for more than a year, depending on the nationality. Unfortunately, this is our world as well, and we have to realize that. So depending on the nationality, some convoy were organized to disembark European, American, well, let's say northern country natives. But for example, Filipinos, Indian crew, they stay on board for more than 1 year without seeing their families, their wife, their kids, just to make this globalized world sustain for us and for northern countries.
And let's not forget the ones who were at home for a year, who couldn't get to their workplace.
Yeah, as well. So I don't know which one of them were the most lucky or the less. But yes, for some, it was more than 1 year without job, without income. Because again, in northern country, when we can't go at work for some reason, we can get some damage, some subsidies, etc., some helps from the country. But for Filipinos, Indian, African people, there is no income at all. So this industry is super hard for some nationalities, and we have not to forget that and to be grateful to them for that.
Yeah, definitely. And all of a sudden, people in governments had to understand the shipping industry, because they had to understand why couldn't vessels call ports, and how could they maybe have a crew change in their own country and so on. And I think we need to maybe take the advantage of now that there are so many heads of states or a minister of infrastructure or something who knows about the shipping industry. Usually they never talk about us, as you said.
Honestly, I'm wondering if some politicians know much or even a bit about shipping industry. I have two friends actually who are working in the European Parliament who did the same school as I did. So some people knows, but I do not even know if they are talking about shipping when they are at work, even as advisors. They haven't been employed for that. And I think people never discuss about shipping industry. The crew side, human side of the shipping industry. Of course, they're discussing about shipping industries at economical, financial level, because this is, the nerve of the economy. So of course, they're discussing a lot, but not about people who make that happen. Yeah.
And that is why I do this podcast, because people should connect the dots. I mean, it's not just an industry. There are people working in that industry as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But unfortunately, the social side of this industry do not exist a lot. I mean, even for European people, northern country people who live on board, conditions sometimes can be quite hard. There is not a lot of recognition. Yeah. So, sorry.
So what can we do about that? How can we change that, do you think?
Make it comes to light, I will say. Talk about that. Talk about this industry, which is what you are doing. And this is a super, super nice idea to discuss about that.
Yeah, we want to talk about the challenges, but we also want to talk about the advantages. I think this is a very cool industry to work in. I enjoy working in the maritime industry. So what do you think is the best part of being a project manager, environmental project manager as you are? What is the best part of that?
I would say what I enjoy the most is working with networking and advocacy more than the pure technical side of my job. Yeah, being able to meet politicians, people from NGOs, very interesting people, people from the European Commission, a lot of people in organization, shipping and organization, transport organization, to exchange about our job and to try to make it better, thanks to organization, like Smart Freight Center, for example, a lot of organization like that.
So how can we become more smart?
By collaboration between the different actors of the shipping industry, whether it is shipping companies, whether it is subcontractor, whether it is transistor, whether it is customers, freight forwarders. If everyone wants to make it better, make this industry better, we'll definitely succeed. But we have to be all aligned, which is what is currently occurring. To facilitate the supply chain, all the actors are required, all their efforts are required. So working together, all together, is the key.
I think you're right. You're onto something there. So who would you be interested in listening to in the shipping podcast? Who do you think I should interview the next?
Why not someone who maybe is not working from the inside in the shipping industry, but more a policy analyst or a politician, maybe. Yeah, why not? Would be great. Transport ministry, someone at the transport ministry, maybe, or yeah, would be nice.
Okay, thank you, Emily, for participating in the shipping podcast. It was very nice meeting you like this.
It was very nice meeting you. Thank you for having me.
Every conversation matters.
Thank you, Emily. Your passion for this industry is shining through. And I hope I can find some politician to discuss with, since every conversation matters. Do you know what? I would like your feedback on what you want me to bring up in this podcast, who you want me to interview, what topic you think that I have missed, and especially why you listen. If you want to help me with that, I can plan the autumn season and give you what you want. Please drop me a line at hello@shippingpodcast.com and let's take it from there. I also dare you to send me a photo of you listening to the Shipping Podcast. That's all for now. Until the next time, from me to you, over and out. Thank you for listening to the Shipping Podcast. Don't forget to tell everyone that you meet that there is a shipping podcast available and that they should download it and listen to the maritime professionals who are sharing their passion for the shipping industry.